talking about top 40 basketball camps. This is for young basketball players trying to develop their skills and hone their skills. You started obviously locally, you're from here, you're a Kitchener-Waterloo guy, but it's really blown up for you and it's taken on sort of a life of its own, and it's great to see because you're making an impact in Canada basketball, not just in the region here, but obviously across the country.
I think it was needed. It expanded so quickly because I think it's important to empower youth through basketball first and foremost, and reward them and recognize them for their hard work that they put in on the court and the hours that they do put in. So I think it's been great. I'm thankful for it. I think there's a lot of coaches across the country that have been great to the program as well, and usually the university coaches and the prominent local high school coaches and club coaches want to get involved with something like that. So I think it's a need in every province, and I think whenever you have the chance to empower youth through their craft, I think that's an amazing thing.
You and I got to know each other a little bit last summer, and I think we thought similarly. 519 Sports Online is about making a difference in our community and providing a spotlight for local athletes and teams, and I know that that's something that drives you as well with what you do, not only locally but across the country. Can you speak to that sort of passion about wanting to make a difference for these youngsters and just give them a opportunity and skills to be able to do whatever it is that they want to do? There's so many things that translate, whether or not they end up playing basketball at an NCAA Division I, Division II level, ultimately doesn't matter. I think there's a lot of things they can learn at your camps above and beyond just dribbling, shooting, and passing.
Exactly. I mean, first and foremost, all of our coaches are educators as well, and I think that's important to have the kids listen to that. Stressing academics, like you said, not every player or kid is going to have a chance to play collegiately or professionally, but we definitely want to prepare for other paths for them. It's a huge motivational factor. A lot of the parents across the country that have their kid come to camp, being an elite player, it's a huge motivational factor, not only on the court, but it helps them in the classroom as well, and attack those their homework and tests and all those kinds of things, and sort of just balance life as a teenager, which isn't always easy. But basketball has been a great refuge for a lot of these kids across the country, and it's paying off for them. A lot of kids are getting to the next level from our camp, and we're just glad we can be a very small part of their young careers and making a difference.
How did you start this? What was your original idea?
Well, I was in my first pro year. I came back internationally from China, playing there, and a lot of parents in the area, in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, were, asking me or telling me like there needs to be some kind of camp to recognize these kids, and there needs to be something here that's more of an elite camp. And so I identified all the players myself my first year, and then as years went on, we've kind of leaned on the local high school coaches, the clubs, the provincial team level coaches, all the way up to the national team coaches to identify these kids across the country. So that's kind of how I started it, is identifying the kids, and I felt like there was a need, and the parents and the community thought there was a need.
Did you ever think you'd be here, national? You hope. Right?
Yeah.
But it's amazing to watch the growth that you've had in, I don't want to say a short period of time. You've put in a lot of hours and a lot of work, and I know you work very hard, but it just must be rewarding when you see a kid come out on the other side of one of your camps, whether it's in Newfoundland, Labrador, whether it's in Kitchener-Waterloo, just to see the smile on their face that that you played a small percentage in them being somewhere else.
It's amazing. I mean, I'm very, very grateful for it. I'm very lucky to be in this position, and like you said, hard work pays off, and I've put a ton into doing that, and we always look for ways to make the program better. But it's an amazing feeling for me when a kid does commit to a university institution, or if he just makes a difference in his community. Of a kid that attended our camp, we are always proud of that, and whether basketball works out for them or it doesn't, we want to definitely teach them to be future leaders, because at the end of the day, these kids are great athletes, but they're looked up to by their peers. You
started out at Grand River.
Yeah.
Did you know early on that basketball was your thing? I was reading a bit in your bio, like as a youngster, you're 4 or 5 years old, you kind of had the feels for it, but you never know, right? Especially in your teenage years. How did it come about that it just sort of parlayed and spiraled into this?
Well, cool fact, I actually started at Eastwood. in grade
Oh,
9.
did you? Okay.
Yeah, I started at Eastwood in grade 9, and then transferred in grade 10 when my parents moved. Yeah, I just kind of fell in love with the game. I always played against older players, twice my age at the local community centers, and just fell in love with NBA on NBC, and just watching those teams in the 90s, and just growing up through the game and just loving it, shoveling snow and all that in the winters, and trying to get into a gym anytime I could to play the game that I just loved.
How about the Heinbuch? We were talking about it a few minutes ago. It's coming up this weekend at Conestoga College, starting on Friday morning. The championship game is Saturday night at 8 o'clock. You had a chance to play in the Heinbuch. It's a very, very prestigious local tournament, and there's been a lot of amazing and outstanding teams and kids that have been through this Heinbuch tournament. Do you remember what the experience was like for you and what it meant to play?
Oh, it was an amazing experience. I think, going back to growing up, every kid in the region wants to play in the Heinbuch. It's one of the most prestigious tournaments, as you've alluded to, and there's such a rich history. But the experience was, when I get the chance to play in the Heinbuch, I really wanted to make my impact for my school and individually as well. And you're playing against sort of the top teams in the province. It's kind of a pre-provincial offset tournament, early bird tournament that kind of sets you apart and helps you for seeding and rankings. And I think my alma mater, Grand River, has been there a lot of the time. So
a lot of years.
Yeah, a lot of years.
So
we've kind of had a history being in the tournament and getting a lot of wins in the tournament. So I really just want to represent for my school and my friends and my peers, and we ended up coming with a bronze medal.
Nice. I think it's a good measuring stick for local teams, because sometimes, and this is what I find, that you might dominate Wixa or you might dominate District 8, but you never know what the talent level is like when you play these out-of-town teams. And I think that's the thing that maybe I like about the Heinbuch too.
Yeah.
It's so early in the season that you get a chance to sort of measure up and see, okay, how do we compare against Toronto Oakwood or Hamilton Cardinal? There's another school that's obviously really good at hoops. That's sort of the thing that I like about it. And again, the scouts. You know as well as I do that Justin Saressa from Laurier and Justin Gunter, Chris O'Rourke from Guelph, likely will all be there this weekend, because it's an opportunity to see the top kids in Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge in one place. Is that a lot of pressure for the kids, or they're just hoopsters and they're just out there playing ball?
I think it's you can't look at it as pressure as a kid. You just got to go out there, have fun, play your game. There's definitely going to be scouts there, just because it is such a prestigious tournament, and all these these outside schools, high schools, are coming to our region and stuff like that. And it's important that we defend it. But the recruiting process is always nerve-wracking. Even for me, it was. But you just got to keep playing the game and have fun doing it, and just work hard.
What would your advice be to a kid in grade 12 who's trying to get noticed, or a kid who's decided to go back for a 5th year who wants to play hoops at the next level? What would you say to them? Not specific to the Heinbuch, but just specific to, you've been through the process, you're very well connected, your name is very well known in our community and beyond, and I think you're still a young guy, and I think that people relate to you in a lot of respects because of that. You're not a 62-year-old basketball coach. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not.
However, you're relatable. So if you had a kid sitting here right beside you, what would you say to him?
Keep your options open. Create a safety net. Don't always put all your eggs in one basket. Make sure your academics are on point. Because as you get older, whether it's 12th grade or you come back for a 5th year, the options get smaller as far as basketball. And you want to make sure that you're going to succeed whether basketball is in your life or it isn't. And I really tell kids, even at all my camps across the country, that you really do have to have a safety net, and you do have to take care of the academics, because you can have all the dreams in the world of trying to play collegiately, NCAA, NBA, pro overseas, whatever, but the solid foundation is your academics. And I know it's cliche to say, Darren, but it's definitely has to be there.
Your best experience in basketball has been what?
Traveling the world, seeing the world for free, 64 countries in the world. I think I would never have done that without the game. So I think that's an amazing basketball experience. and having friends all around the world and people that I can talk to wherever I go, whatever continent, I think is pretty crazy. And I'm just a country bumpkin from Kitchener-Waterloo,
Yeah.
you know. So it's amazing where where a ball can take you if you just put in work in the classroom as well and on the court. And I think that's been my most amazing experience, is just seeing the world. And now, you know, transitioning to, you know, my first year as a pro to putting on the top 40 camp and impacting kids, like you said, and youth, and helping sort of those kids through my basketball experiences and making it about them and really trying to help them get to the next level.
You know, it's nice to hear a success story of a local guy who worked hard, put in the time. You know, you got to play NCAA basketball, man.
Yeah,
They can never take that away from you, right? That's
number one player. Number one, we got to play on ESPN against Kansas and the Kentuckys of the world.
right.
I never thought I remember my first game. I went from playing in front of my friends and, you know, in Wixa, maybe 20 people in the crowd, to Rupp Arena with 25,000 people watching you at the University of Kentucky.
Yeah.
So it can change like that, and your dreams can come true. So
Craziest atmosphere you played in. Is
Oh,
Kentucky
wow.
close? It's
Oh man, Kentucky! I'll tell you what, Darren. I just remember us being down, and it was probably the loudest place I've ever been to. Fog Island Fieldhouse in Kansas was pretty crazy. But I remember they had a dunk, and your bones just kind of shaked, and it wasn't because you were nervous.
Yeah.
It was because of the immense, the loudness, and
the energy of that moment.
You just felt it,
Yeah.
the gravity of that moment, and then your coach having a sign with the play because it was so loud. It was so loud in there that the coach, you know, couldn't even call out a play. So you'd have to look at that and balance. It was just crazy.
Awesome. I love stories like that. That's
Yeah.
honestly, I think you and I could probably sit here for about another hour and a half,
Yeah.
and just chat about, you know, local sports and Wixa and NCAA. You know,
Yeah.
and quickly, just, you know, we have about 2 minutes. Just
Yeah.
the overseas experience for you, just
Yeah.
playing basketball. You know, a lot of people, I don't want to say shy away from that, but that is a huge step to go overseas and play basketball. You were obviously ready mentally for that at the
Yeah.
age you were at. You know, how great was that?
It was amazing. You know, like I said, being able to travel the world for free. But then, you know, my experiences in China and other places in Europe, I got to play against some of my heroes, Tracy McGrady, Gilbert Arenas, Stephon Marbury. These are guys that I kind of grew up with their shoes, and then you're on the same court as them, and you have to sort of separate that and sort of battle them. So those are crazy experiences to have overseas, and you know, that's not easy to do there. You're in a foreign country, you don't speak the language.
You're young.
Yeah, you're young. You're young. You're in your 20s, and you have a translator, and
Yeah.
you're living by yourself, and you know, it's crazy. And you're on the road, and the pressure from the fans. But that's been an amazing experience that, like you said, no one can take away from you. And I'm very, very grateful for those opportunities.
If people want more information on top 40 basketball camps, where can they go?
They can go to www.tricity40basketball.com, or they can find our Instagram page at Top40Camp. Mine is Qahwash20. But you know, we're taking things to the next level next year, Darren. We're going to bring in some more NBA guest speakers locally and nationally as well. We have some amazing provincial team level coaches. We got some you know, amazing gear for the kids that we're upping as well. And you know, it's kind of the who's who. It's a great stepping stone for grade 9s and 10s and 11s, 12s to get to that next level. And you know, it's for girls as well. You know, we'd love to empower women as well and help them as well.
519 Sports Online will happily be there to cover it for you. Good having you in
And we would
studio
love to
today.
have you. No problem. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Great chat with you, and we'll do this again soon, I promise. I'd love to get into more of your basketball stories from Rupp Arena. That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's
Thanks,
interesting
Larry.
stuff.
For more highlights, visit our website, 519sportsonline.ca. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.